After a quiet night of watching TV, a blind old man gets ready for bed, completely unaware that someone has already broken into his home. The intruder quietly enters his bedroom, even placing a can of gas on the floor to make sure the old man stays unconscious, then shuts the door behind him, confident everything is under control. Thinking the plan is perfect, the thief heads downstairs and meets up with his two accomplices. As they search the house, they notice a locked door in the living room and quickly figure out that the old man's money must be hidden inside. They try to pick the lock, but despite looking ordinary, it refuses to budge no matter how long they struggle with it. Frustration starts to build, and money finally snaps. Ignoring the risks, he pulls out a gun and decides to shoot the lock open. His friends hesitate, knowing that once a gunshot is fired, this is no longer just a simple break-in. But money doesn't care anymore. He pulls the trigger, and with a loud bang, the lock breaks apart instantly. Alex immediately realizes things have gone too far. Not wanting any part of what comes next, he backs out and decides to leave, abandoning the plan altogether. But Money and Rocky stay behind, determined to grab the cash and get out. Then everything changes in an instant. The old man suddenly walks out of the room, catching them completely off guard. Panic sets in, and Money tries to talk his way out of the situation, pretending he wandered in by mistake. But the lie doesn't last long. The old man steps on the broken lock on the floor and immediately understands what's really going on. With no way out, Money tries to intimidate him, firing a shot into the ceiling to take control of the situation. But the old man doesn't flinch. Revealed to be a retired Special Forces soldier, he calmly closes the distance and seizes the opportunity to disarm Money. Now in control, he demands to know how many intruders are inside the house. Under pressure, Money claims he is alone. At the same time, Rocky spots a wrench lying nearby and considers grabbing it to save him. But before she can act, everything is over. Without hesitation, the old man pulls the trigger and kills Money on the spot. Rocky is left frozen in shock, realizing far too late that this was never going to be an easy robbery. This is Don't Breathe. Trying to stay out of the old man's line of sight, Rocky slowly backs away until she manages to hide under a table. It is a close call, but he does not notice her, and she barely avoids being discovered. Alex, on the other hand, is not as lucky. After hearing the gunshot, he rushes back into the house and nearly runs straight into the old man. He reacts just in time and hides, which keeps him from being caught. Realizing the situation is getting worse, Rocky hides in a corner and reaches out to Alex. They try to regroup, but just as they are about to meet, the old man suddenly appears near her. Startled again, she slips back under the table. Once again, he fails to notice her, focusing instead on checking the safe. After confirming the money is still there, he leaves the room, thinking everything is secure. What he does not realize is that Rocky has seen the code he entered. Once she reunites with Alex, they quickly open the safe and take the old man's entire retirement fund. With the money in hand, they prepare to escape. But everything almost falls apart immediately. The old man suddenly returns and pushes the door open. They freeze, unsure of what to do. Luckily, he is only there to deal with the body. They slowly back away, trying to stay silent, but a creak from the floor nearly gives them away. The old man raises his weapon and carefully scans the room. For a moment, it feels like it is over. But then the sound turns out to be the victim's phone ringing. The old man turns it off and continues what he was doing. As soon as he leaves, Rocky and Alex quietly slip into the basement, hoping to find another way out. Not long after, the old man notices something is off. A strange smell catches his attention, and then he spots a pair of unfamiliar shoes. That is when he realizes there is more than one intruder. He rushes to the safe and finds the money gone. At that point, his anger explodes. Now it is no longer about defense, it becomes personal. Meanwhile, down in the basement, Rocky and Alex stumble upon something far more disturbing than they expected. Hidden in the darkness, they find a young woman being held captive. Alex wants nothing to do with it and just wants to escape, but Rocky refuses to leave her behind. The woman hands over a piece of newspaper, revealing a shocking truth. Years earlier, she was involved in an accident that killed the old man's daughter. Even though she was responsible, she was ultimately set free. Rocky realizes they have heard about this case before, about the mysterious disappearance of that same woman. And in that moment, it becomes clear that none of this would have happened if they had not chosen this house. A few days earlier, everything had seemed much simpler. Alex, Rocky, and Money were just small-time thieves planning another break-in at an empty house. Alex made it clear they should avoid stealing large amounts of cash and keep the value under a certain limit to avoid serious charges. The others agreed, at least for the moment. Rocky took jewelry, shoes, and expensive clothes, while Money grabbed electronics and anything valuable he could find. After finishing the job, Alex deliberately triggered the alarm to make it look like a forced entry, covering their tracks. On the way home, Rocky revealed her plan to leave the city for good. She wanted to move to California with Money and start over. When asked if she would ever come back, she made it clear she had no intention of returning, even suggesting Alex should come along with them. When Alex gets home, he quietly returns the key he used for the break-in to his father's desk drawer. It turns out his father works for a security company and has access to spare keys from their clients. The irony is hard to ignore. Alex has been using those very keys to rob the same people his father is supposed to protect, all while his father continues to care for him without knowing the truth. Elsewhere, Money is clearly dissatisfied after selling their stolen goods to a fence named Raul. The payout is far lower than he expected, and Raul takes advantage of that frustration. He suggests that if Money really wants to make serious cash, he should stop stealing items and go after Money directly. Raul even points him toward a new target, an elderly war veteran who lives alone. After hearing this, Money tracks down Alex and Rocky to share the idea. He explains that the house is also under the same security company managed by Alex's father, and the owner is a retired soldier with no family around. As they think it through, Alex points out that the neighborhood itself feels almost abandoned, like a ghost town with barely anyone living there. Rocky agrees, noting how run-down the area looks, as if it has been left behind on purpose, with only the old man still living there. Then Money reveals more details that make the target even more tempting. Years earlier, the old man's daughter was killed in an accident caused by a wealthy young woman. Instead of facing prison, her family paid a large settlement to keep her out of jail. Money believes that cash is still inside the house. The idea excites him, and he pushes the plan forward, but Alex immediately pushes back. He reminds them that going after large amounts of cash crosses a serious line, and if they get caught, the consequences would be far worse. On top of that, he does not want anything leading back to his father. In the end, Alex makes his position clear. He refuses to take part in the robbery and prepares to walk away, leaving the decision in the hands of his friends. Not long after, Rocky is shown at home, living with her mother and her younger sister Diddy. It is far from a healthy environment. Her mother shows little care for them and focuses only on herself, even allowing her unemployed boyfriend to stay while expecting Rocky to carry the financial burden. Because of that, Rocky is determined to leave. She wants to take Diddy to California and give her a chance at a better life. Then a message comes in from Alex. After some hesitation, he finally agrees to go through with the plan to rob the old veteran's house. That decision changes everything. Rocky promises Diddy that soon they will leave for California, where Diddy can chase her dream of becoming a surfer. With that goal in mind, the group begins preparing for the job. They start by scouting the neighborhood where the old man lives. The place feels abandoned, almost like a ghost town. Most of the houses are damaged or completely deserted, except for one. The old man's house stands firm and well-maintained, making it the only sign of life in the area. With no neighbors around, they realize the risk of police interference is low. Money also points out that the old man has not left his house for several days, which makes the plan even easier in their eyes. They are confident they can handle everything by putting him to sleep. While discussing their plan inside the car, they are suddenly interrupted by the old man's dog barking at them. Moments later, the old man appears and calls the dog back. That is when they realize he is blind. For a brief moment, Alex feels uneasy about what they are about to do. But Money sees it differently. To him, it only makes the job easier. Later that night, around 2 in the morning, they put their plan into action. They first deal with the dog by drugging it to keep it quiet. When they try to open the front door, they run into a problem. The lock system is more complicated than expected, and the key Alex has is not enough. With no other option, Rocky takes the lead. She breaks in through a window, slips inside, and quickly disables the alarm system. Soon after, she opens the door from the inside, letting Alex and Money in. They take off their shoes and move carefully through the house, searching for the hidden cash. As they split up, Money heads upstairs and finds the old man, Norman, already asleep. But driven by greed, He makes a decision that will cost him his life. And now, back in the basement, Rocky and Alex are left trapped, with no clear way out of the house. At the same time, Norman upstairs begins to sense that something is wrong. The rope tied to the woman in the basement is connected to a bell above, alerting him to movement. Down below, the woman hands Rocky a torn piece of newspaper, revealing her identity. She is Cindy, the same person responsible for the accident that killed Norman's daughter. Cindy then points toward the safe, where the key to her restraints is kept. After managing to free her, Rocky and Alex quickly move toward an exit, hoping to get out before it is too late. But when they reach the door, they realize it is locked. Alex frantically tries different keys, and just as the door finally opens, Norman is already there, firing wildly. The shots leave Alex injured and destroy Rocky's phone. But the worst outcome comes next. Cindy is accidentally shot and killed. The moment hits differently for Norman. Instead of anger, he shows grief, as if Cindy meant far more to him than they ever expected. After locking the basement door again, Alex quickly comes up with a new plan. He tells Rocky they need to escape through the front door using the keys from the safe. But Norman suddenly cuts the lights, plunging everything into darkness. Now they are forced to move carefully, relying only on sound. Rocky inches forward and nearly runs straight into Norman without realizing it. At the last second, Alex calls out, unintentionally drawing Norman's attention. A gunshot echoes through the darkness. Moments later, Norman finds Alex and grabs him from the side. Alex struggles to break free and manages to knock over a metal shelf, using it to bring Norman down. It works, and Norman is briefly unconscious. Wasting no time, Alex rushes to Rocky, and they both make a run for it. When they reach the ground floor, another problem appears. The dog is awake again, no longer affected by the drugs. Alex hands the keys to Rocky and tells her to open the front door while he distracts the animal. At the same time, Norman regains consciousness and begins forcing his way back in. With no other choice, Alex runs back to Rocky, and they retreat upstairs, hiding inside a room. Nearby, Norman heads to his bedroom to retrieve a hidden weapon. Realizing he is coming, Alex tells Rocky to escape through the ventilation system while he holds the door shut. He does everything he can, but Norman eventually breaks through, sending the dog in first. The attack knocks Alex off balance, and he falls out of the window, landing on a cracked skylight. He tries to stay still to keep it from breaking, but Norman fires a shot, shattering the glass beneath him. Elsewhere, Rocky crawls through the ventilation shaft, trying to find a way out. But suddenly, the dog appears behind her, forcing her to panic and lose her footing. She falls through a dark opening, landing deeper inside the house. At the same time, Alex is still searching for an escape when Norman suddenly reappears and chases him down. Alex fights back with whatever he can find, even grabbing an axe, but it is not enough. Norman quickly overpowers him and beats him down. With Alex too injured to continue, Norman picks up a pair of garden shears and stabs him. Not long after, Rocky is pulled out of the vent by Norman and dragged back into the room. He attacks her and chokes her until she loses consciousness, then locks her in the basement, the same place where Cindy was held before. It is here that the truth fully comes out. Norman reveals that he kidnapped Cindy and forced her to carry a child to replace the daughter he lost. In his mind, this was justice. He then blames Rocky and her friends for everything that has happened, including Cindy's death and the loss of the unborn child. But Alex is not dead. In a desperate turn, it is revealed that Norman had actually stabbed Money's body instead, giving Alex a second chance. While Norman prepares his next move, Alex manages to get back on his feet and makes his way toward the front door. Meanwhile, Norman begins setting up his twisted plan for Rocky, intending to force her into the same fate as Cindy. He convinces himself that what he is doing is justified, believing he is giving himself another chance at having a family. Rocky refuses to accept it. Just in time, Alex returns and attacks Norman, saving her. Together, they manage to restrain him and prepare to escape through the front door. But as soon as the door opens, everything falls apart again. Norman suddenly appears and fires, killing Alex. With no time to react, Rocky runs for her life, escaping the house while the dog chases her. Thinking quickly, she traps the dog inside the trunk of a car and tries to get away. For a brief moment, it seems like she has made it. Then Norman appears behind her and strikes her down, dragging her back into the house just like before. But this time, Rocky manages to find the alarm remote and activates it, calling for help. The loud noise overwhelms Norman, giving her the opening she needs. She fights back, strikes him, and sends him falling into the basement. A gunshot goes off as he falls. Believing it is finally over, Rocky escapes just before the police arrive. Sometime later, the story continues on the news. Norman is reported to have survived and is recovering in the hospital. The incident is ruled as self-defense, with 2 intruders confirmed dead. Rocky is never mentioned, neither is Cindy, and the missing money is never brought up. With that, Rocky and her sister leave everything behind, boarding a train to Los Angeles, ready to start a new life with the money she took. So the moral of the story is, if you ever think robbing a blind old man is easy money, just remember he might be a one-man army with anger issues and a secret basement. So maybe just get a normal job instead.